Everyone talks about the good, but what about 6 problems with the Subaru Ascent that you must know before you buy one? Subaru's 3-row SUV is undoubtedly a great choice for families, but only if you're ready to accept a couple of compromises. Would they be a deal breaker, or can you live with these drawbacks? Stay with us to find out. Number 6. Tight third row. The Ascent is being marketed as the perfect family hauler, but here's what Subaru doesn't want you to discover in the showroom. That third row is going to disappoint you. Sure, on paper it looks decent with 31.7 inches of legroom, but the reality of actually sitting back there tells a completely different story. The problem isn't just about the numbers, it's about how those numbers translate to real-world comfort. What they're not telling you is that the Ascent's cabin is about 2 inches narrower than the average for its class. When you're trying to fit people across that third row, those missing inches become painfully obvious. Here's where it gets worse. When you compare the Ascent to its direct competitors, the limitations become crystal clear. The Honda Pilot offers 38.9 inches of headroom compared to the Ascent's 36.2 inches. The Ford Explorer, it's giving you 38.9 inches of headroom and 32.2 inches of legroom. Even the Toyota Grand Highlander is beating the Ascent with 33.5 inches of third row legroom. What this means for you as an owner is that your third row is essentially going to be relegated to children only. Owners are consistently describing the third row as suitable only for kids or contortionists, which raises serious questions about whether you're really getting the 3-row functionality you're paying for. Number 5. Unimpressive safety features. Now here's something that's going to shock you. The Ascent comes loaded with Subaru's famous EyeSight safety technology, but what you're not being told is that these systems are causing more problems than they're solving for thousands of owners. The EyeSight system is supposed to be Subaru's crown jewel: adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, and automatic emergency braking. Here's what's actually happening out there in the real world. Owners are reporting unintended braking where the vehicle suddenly slams on the brakes for no apparent reason. Imagine you're driving down the highway with your family and your Ascent suddenly decides to brake hard because it thinks it sees something that isn't there. But it gets worse. The system is also failing to engage when there actually is a real threat. The lane keeping assist is so aggressive that it's actually jerking the steering wheel and potentially steering vehicles into other lanes. Some owners are reporting that the system completely shuts down, leaving them with no safety features at all until they restart the entire vehicle. Here's the really concerning part. There's actually a class action lawsuit against Subaru alleging multiple defects and problems with the EyeSight system. The lawsuit specifically points to inadequate software calibration as the root cause. Owners are describing the system as super overactive and saying it's so unreliable that they're actually considering lemon law attorneys. Number 4. No wilderness treatment for Ascent. Let's take a look at something that's going to frustrate adventure-seeking families. While Subaru offers rugged wilderness trims for the Crosstrek, Forester, and Outback, the Ascent is completely left out of this off-road party. Think about what you're missing. The wilderness treatment includes significantly increased ground clearance, with models like the Outback Wilderness getting 9.5 inches compared to the Ascent's standard 8.7 inches. You're also missing out on enhanced dual-function X mode with specialized settings for challenging terrain, all-terrain tires that can actually handle mud and snow, and revised gear ratios for better low-speed climbing power. The wilderness aesthetic includes tough exterior cladding, distinctive matte black alloy wheels, and redesigned bumpers with improved approach and departure angles. Inside, you get durable, water-resistant StarTex upholstery that can actually handle the aftermath of outdoor adventures. What makes this omission particularly frustrating is that Subaru is positioning itself as the go-to brand for outdoor enthusiasts, but then they're leaving their largest family vehicle without the very features that would make it truly capable for family adventures. This creates a real problem for families who want to stay loyal to the Subaru brand, but need both 3-row seating and serious off-road capability. Number 3. Cabin noise. Okay, let's take a look at something that's associated with pretty much every Subaru on the market. The cabin noise levels are going to drive you crazy if you're used to solid insulation, especially during highway driving. Consumer Reports initially praised the 2020 Ascent's interior quietness, but here's what actually happened when real owners started living with these vehicles day after day. They discovered that the official reviews completely missed the mark. Owners are reporting that highway road noise is awful for such a nice vehicle. One owner described the cabin as so loud they could hear everything, even a butterfly fart outside of my car. Another owner specifically mentioned that the noise was worse than my Forester, which raises serious questions about whether Subaru actually improved anything with their larger SUV. The primary culprits are road and tire noise, especially those original Falcon tires that become loud as they wore. Wind noise is also a major issue, with some owners suspecting problems with the moonroof windshield. Here's proof that this is a widespread problem. There's actually a market for aftermarket sound deadening kits specifically designed for 2019 to 2021 Ascent models. Companies are selling sound deadener kits because so many owners are desperate to fix what Subaru should have gotten right from the factory. Number 2. Infotainment quirks and HVAC AC complaints. Get ready for daily frustration because the Ascent's technology systems are going to test your patience in ways you never expected. That touchscreen that looks so modern in the showroom, it's plagued with occasional freezing or lag that makes simple tasks require multiple attempts. Owners are describing the touch functionality as terrible, requiring them to poke and prod at the screen just to access basic functions that should work with a single touch. The built-in navigation system is barely functioning, forcing most owners to rely entirely on smartphone integration. But even Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are experiencing connection problems, sometimes requiring full system resets just to connect your phone. What makes this particularly frustrating is that climate controls are heavily integrated into this unreliable touchscreen. So when the screen is being unresponsive, you can't even adjust your temperature or airflow settings without fighting with the system. Speaking of climate control, here's where things get really problematic. Owners are reporting uneven heating causes cooling, especially in earlier models. The third row vents sometimes don't push enough air, causing discomfort for rear passengers in extreme weather. Think about this. You're paying for a 3-row family SUV, but the people in the back are going to be uncomfortable whenever the weather gets challenging. Common AC issues include refrigerant leaks, electrical climate control problems, and AC compressor failures. Some owners have found their rear AC blower was simply unplugged from the factory, suggesting quality control issues during assembly. Number 1. CVT. Here's the biggest problem that's going to affect every single mile you drive. The Ascent's continuously variable transmission is fundamentally compromising what could otherwise be a solid driving experience. The Ascent's 260 horsepower turbocharged 2.4-liter engine is actually pretty impressive on its own, but Subaru has paired it exclusively with their Lineartronic CVT, and this transmission is the weakest link in the entire powertrain. Here's what you're going to experience every time you press the accelerator: the infamous rubber band effect, where the engine revs quickly to its optimal power band while the vehicle's speed catches up gradually. This creates a vague and disconnected feeling that makes the Ascent feel like it needs a pep talk to get moving. The noise issue is going to drive you crazy because the CVT holds the engine at higher RPMs for extended periods, creating a persistent droning noise that becomes particularly annoying during highway driving. The powertrain becomes especially noisy under duress when you're asking for performance. Here's how this affects real-world performance. The Ascent's 0 to 60 miles per hour time of 6.8 seconds is actually slower than competitors like the Mazda CX-90 at 6.3 seconds and Hyundai Palisade at 6.4 seconds. So you're not just getting a less engaging driving experience, you're getting measurably slower performance. The throttle response inconsistency is particularly frustrating because it can be abrupt at low speeds around town, while feeling sluggish when you need highway passing power. This creates an unpredictable and less refined driving feel that makes the Ascent feel less premium than its price tag suggests. What makes this especially disappointing is that competitors are using conventional multi-speed automatic transmissions that offer more distinct and satisfying shifts. The bottom line is that while the Ascent's engine provides ample power, the CVT's behavior makes the vehicle feel less engaging and less premium than many of its competitors. But even with these limitations, the Ascent is still a great choice for families, with many strong points. After all, it's not like the competition is flawless. Check out this video about the problems with Kia's Sorento you must know, which you can now see on the screen. Kia's 3-row SUV looks amazing on paper, but reality tells a little bit of a different story.